I find it surprisingly uninteresting.
What?
Welcome to the official Unofficial Sea of Thieves podcast, a podcast dedicated to Sea of Thieves and other rare games, but mainly Sea of Thieves. Season 12 has been out for a while, so it's time to shoot our opinions out of our non-literal cannons. We will be discussing the new weapons, the new tools, zip lines, and if hippos are a possibility now that we have owls in the game. This episode is sure to be a hoot, and if you are wondering who is also on this podcast, it is none other than my hootiful co-host.
I'm absolutely appalled by that pun. It's me, AShinyRay, guys. Also appalled at puns. Just that's my new occupation.
I wrote them specifically for you. So, don't you like puns, or is it just the owl puns you don't like?
I don't know. If I liked owl puns, I'd be born in a barn. No? Has that gone over your head?
Yeah.
Barn owl. In the UK, say if you were born in the barn, were you born in a barn? That's like a slang for saying, "Are you stupid?" Stupid is a farm animal.
Right. Well, that flew right over me.
Oh, fuck off! Honestly, we're getting out of our system now.
We are, because we are getting some more owl puns, right? Don't we?
Yes, we are.
All right, you're not that happy about it?
We'll see. Depends if they're, if they're funny, we'll be fine, right?
Well, there are no jokes in this podcast. Who are you kidding?
Did you like who are you kidding? Was that on purpose?
Let's just say it was. So, how did you like our latest episode?
Well, I'm not going to say I didn't like it, did I? It was so rude. No, of course I loved it. It was great having Robin on. What about you? Because, you're the rare super fan here. I'm a plastic rare fan.
Yeah, it's the highlight. Not only the highlight of the podcast. I think it's the best episode we ever did. And we didn't even, talk that much. We just let Robin talk, and he gave us all these amazing stories. And for me, it's like a dream come true. I just started this channel just to make, to have creative outlet, but to actually meet somebody that you really admire, like somebody from your childhood, that's just great. Just not a highlight of the channel, but also a highlight of my personal life. So really appreciated that birthday present, Ray.
See, imagine if you never invited me to be on the season 2 podcast. We never would have been friends.
Yes, that's true.
So butterfly effect right there, guys.
And we're still friends. Like, even after I've gotten Robin, we are still friends. So yeah. I'm not just using you.
We'll see. We'll see if I can get maybe Grant, Louise, and maybe even Greg. If I get those 3, and then Blubber is still my friend, then I know it's a true friendship.
Aye, indeed. Especially after Louise. I mean, that's the next big one.
Not Greg. Not Greg. Surely Greg's the the Holy Grail.
No, Grant, I think.
You reckon? But I think that'd be quite difficult, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Grant does do interviews a lot, more than Greg. Greg is harder, I think, because he doesn't like to be the front man. He doesn't like to be the face of a video game, even though he is directing.
I can't remember the last time we saw. I know we're going on for tangent here. But I can't remember the last time Greg appeared in any sort of promotional content for Sea of Thieves. Was it the event? Was he in the documentary for the 5-year anniversary?
Oh shit! I don't even know.
The last
can't remember. No.
I think the last thing I can remember is something like the Tales from the Tavern or Inside Story. I think that's the last time I saw him in a piece of promotional content.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Like the early promotion, the early videos, which is weird because he made such a big impact on the game. Like the fact that there are not a lot of menus or text popping up, that's all Greg. Like the basic ideas of Sea of Thieves, that's all Greg.
Well, he's lost some influence there because there's a fuckload of menus in it now, isn't there?
Yeah, it is. Like if you can tell that he's not as involved anymore. Like he's working on Everwild now, and you can tell like Greg would definitely be opposed to all these menus we're getting, for sure.
Not Sea of Thieves 2.
Or he's working on Sea of Thieves too, which would be very streamlined. But also the moments of relaxation and excitement and wonder and exploration, all these emotions following each other. That's Greg. That's his game design. So he laid the foundation, and then the other people fucked it up.
That's a joke, right?
Yeah, of course. We've talked about it too, that Sea of Thieves changed over the years, and I guess that's fine. That's usually what happens. And I think it's a good thing in general, because you don't want to be playing the same game over and over and over again. But there are also downsides to it. Like some new identity is cool, but losing some of your old identity is also, it's not always great.
No. Before I forget, actually, you talking about this whole like I spoke about the promotional stuff and like what Rare's working on next. Will we have a podcast before the 9th of June? Because that's the showcase, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, do you think they're going to show some CFD stuff?
Well, we might as well talk about it now than rather, leave it to the end, because it's not actually in the script here. I think we should talk about it just in case.
Sure.
What do you think they're going to show in terms of Sea of Thieves or other Rare stuff?
Oh yeah, like maybe Everwild.
Or a certain bear and bird. You never know.
A certain bear and bird. All right, that's funny that you addressed that, because I wanted to talk about it actually. So a tangent on a tangent. You do know Rare made a new barn, right?
See, this is what also triggered my memory. So let's dive into this, because I think this is a really good sort of crossover topic between what's coming in the future for Sea of Thieves and Rare and, well, this new barn. So do you want to explain the barn to the viewers?
Yeah, of course. Like, Rare opens a new barn. So for those that aren't aware, instead of just a studio with office buildings, Rare is located in Twycross and has barns. Like, since the early 90s, they work in barns. I think early 90s, could be late 80s, not really 100% sure.
This is not an owl pun, by the way. They are actual converted barns.
Yeah, so I do remember the story of Diddy Kong Racing, for example, is that they were working in one of the barns where it was blazing hot and they were sweating a lot, and that's how Diddy Kong Racing got made, with a lot of sweat. Because it was developed in a barn.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Blood, sweat, and tears. But yeah, they have 4 barns, and it used to be that each barn was their own team and their own, own team working on a different game. So they had 4 games working at the same time. Now it's a little bit different. Like now, Sea of Thieves has a barn, but there's some overlap here and there. Everwild has a barn, but again, there's some overlap. As far
as I can understand it now, what I think is going on with the barns is you have the Sea of Thieves team. One barn is maybe like bug fixing. Barn 2 is the Pirate Emporium. Barn 3 is the Pirate Emporium. And Barn 4 is how many menus can we add to the game? That's the UI team, but they can just only add stuff there. So no, of course I'm joking. We'll cover what we think is being made.
One barn is just Joe Nee's office.
It's his pad, isn't it? It's a bar basically. How many? Before we go into this new one, how many barns do you reckon have been taken up by Sea of Thieves? I think it's 2.
I think it's 2. Yeah. 2. I'm pretty sure it's 2. Yeah.
2 plus obviously you've got like Flix Interactive, Auroch Games. Who's the other one? Lucid Games. There's 4 other studios that are working on the game that aren't based in Twycross as well.
Right, but there's a new barn.
Yeah.
There's a 5th barn. It's called Barn X, so it's not the 10th barn or anything like that. It's the 5th barn. It's totally new. They built it from the ground up. It's not converted from an old barn to something new. They're really happy about it. They didn't release a video on their Sea of Thieves channel, but they did release a video about it on their main channel, the Rare channel, which has way less subscribers, but that's fine. That's expected. And apparently it's completely green, so it's powered by the sun. They have some solar panels out there in Twycross that are apparently powering the entire barn. It looks great. It looks very modern, but why why is the barn there? Like, is it, to expand for Sea of Thieves? Or are we getting more games now? Or are we just getting more content from the games that are in development? So what do you think?
So originally I put out that video about Sea of Thieves 2, and I still think it's in development. Obviously, the reason why we had such a shit 2023, sorry for calling it that, but guys, it was the worst year we've had, is because there was resources working on a PS5 port and probably the Switch 2 port as well. And we'll see when that gets announced. But back to that, what I think has happened is that Microsoft is transitioning to be a third-party sort of publisher for their games. So since they're moving away from hardware, and guys, they are moving away from hardware, Sea of Thieves is not going to be the last Xbox franchise to go multi-platform. To see what happens towards the end of the year. Upon seeing that, they can't rely on hardware anymore, and they can't rely on their old franchises that have failed, like Halo Infinite or Gears of War, let's say. Gears is in a better place than Halo, but Sea of Thieves has done very well as a franchise, not only as a new one, but how many live services that you see get constant updates 6 years later or even launch on new platforms? Microsoft has seen the value in Sea of Thieves, so that's going to be they want to franchise that. And when does a big corporation not want to kick the shit out of a franchise? You see it in Hollywood all the time. You see it with games. Microsoft will want to run Sea of Thieves into the ground as much as they can to get the money from it. Sounds bad, but that's what companies do. So I think this Barn X is an expansion to work on a Sea of Thieves spin-off or a Sea of Thieves sequel. And just sort of, I think it shows Microsoft's commitment to Rare as a studio, considering they've done so well in the last sort of 6 years or so. But so to answer your question, I don't think it's anything like Banjo-Kazooie. I think that is purely a Sea of Thieves space, especially when we see people who we know work at Rare and are working on Sea of Thieves, like George Orton. I'm sure Mike was in the video as well. I think that expansion is for the Sea of Thieves franchise based off of that.
Yeah, and I did pause and see what was on their computer screens and stuff like that, and it seemed pirate related.
Yeah.
I mean, there was this one island, big island, kind of looked like the Monkey Island, and with a village next to it. But it was still different. I was like, is this a art asset of the Tall Tales, or is this a, maybe Sea of Thieves 2? I don't know. Or maybe it's just a screensaver, and he likes looking at a pirate village near a mountain.
I still think Sea of Thieves 2 makes sense from a sort of technological...
Makes the most sense. Yeah. Well, we'll find out eventually. But there are a few hints in that video that do hint to Banjo. And let's start with the name first of Barn X. And this is the least plausible argument or hint or whatever you want to call it. Because I don't know about you, but do you know what Nuts and Bolts was called when it was still in development?
Was it Banjo X?
Banjo X, exactly.
Yeah.
And back then it was just to be a remake of the original Banjo-Kazooie with some added bonus in it.
Yeah.
And now it's called Barn X. So is that a reference to that Banjo game? Perhaps. Or is it just, no, we're working for Microsoft and Series X, Barn X, why not?
That's the more boring and
more plausible
answer, isn't
it? But a boy can dream. The other hint, however, is a bit more lenient to Banjo, because in that video, they not only announced that they have a new barn, they also announced that they are selling honey. You can now go to Twycross and buy rare honey. And Banjo is a honey bear. So what do you think about that?
Well, if they start selling honeycombs that are honeycomb hexagonal shape, then I think that's confirmed, my friend.
But it's weird, right? Like, you're a video game company, but you also produce honey now.
It goes in with the sort of green aspect, because bees are, a key part of our ecosystem. So it would sort of, having beekeeping there makes sense sort of from a environmental standpoint. But it's sort of a bit like Rare, like tongue in cheek, like, oh yeah, we're just making some honey. It's good for the environment. Barnex, and all that. Oh, there's a banjo on the wall from Sea of Thieves. Oh, that sort of thing.
I
do agree with what you're saying, though. I think that is a very cheeky thing that Rare would do.
Yeah, it could just be, honoring their heritage like they like to do. Or it could be like, hey, we're just already making our promotional material for when the new Banjo game comes out.
Yeah. There was that leak about, I think it was 6 months to a year ago, that there is Banjo in development currently at a Microsoft studio, and that could be very many after those acquisitions. Some people think Toys for Bob, but I think Toys for Bob are working on Spyro 4 personally, just sort of based on their hints and I think what assets they would have had before they went independent. And obviously they made Spyro Reignited as well. So we'll see. I do think that Banjo is in development in some capacity.
Yeah, I used to think that, but it's just emotional for me. Like I've been let down before, and we did ask Mike directly if there was a new Banjo game in development, and he said no. And you might interpret that as, well, it's not a new game; it's a remake. So of course he said no.
He also wouldn't say yes if he knew.
Yes. Can you imagine?
It's paradoxical, isn't it?
Here.
Imagine that. Yeah, they're making Banjo 3. Actually, this is a world reveal ahead of the Xbox showcase.
Only your 500 listeners know about it.
Imagine that would be scoop of the century.
We'll blow up then.
We'll blow up.
Or just that one video, probably that. So yeah, anything else you want to talk about the new barn?
Sort of bouncing off that back to the original sort of topic, Xbox Showcase.
Oh, yes, of course, the Xbox Showcase. We're going to watch it. I'm excited for it. It's in my schedule.
I might stream it. I don't know. It was fun when we streamed it for captaincy. Last year would have been good. That would have been good. But this year, what are we thinking? Sea of Thieves has been there every year since E3 2015.
Well, it's before the Burning Blade, right?
This is before season 13.
Yeah, so we'll just get a promo for that season.
But what sort of promo? Because I think season 13 is due to start on something like the 26th of July. Let me just look at my calendar. Yeah, the in-game timer shows it as starting on the 25th of July. And that's like a good sort of 6-7 weeks before then. So they're not going to show a full reveal trailer because they don't do that, do they? But a CGI trailer.
Yeah, like a flame art.
Yeah, I think it's going to show him coming back because they're not going to show that in the game based on, well, how awful the lore updates have been in the last few months. How disappointing they've been. And unless they throw out a surprise Tall Tale, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, that could be what's going to happen. It would tie over nicely. But yeah, because Mike was very... he never said that they weren't doing Tall Tales again when we asked him. He said they weren't doing crossover Tall Tales again. Which is interesting because I feel like there's a gap here that needs filling, and that would be a nice little surprise as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Plus, he said it's the year of Flame Art, but we still haven't seen Flame Art at all, not even in the preview event, so,
we're coming up to June as well. It's like half the year is gone, but don't worry, guys. The year of Flameheart.
But we do see that Rare it likes to tease again. Like we have these parrots on the islands that are probably going to be those new runes. You have the cards that we can find in Port Merrick. So they do like teasing us again.
It would be it would be a great tease if they didn't just reveal everything they're going to put in season 13.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the thing. Like maybe we see an in between stage again after the showcase. Like, oh, this is coming, and after a week there's a new update, and we see some of the rooms being built. Flameheart is chilling in his lair. To get us ready for the big update, maybe.
I don't know. Without something like a playable experience, I think it's going to be received very poorly if he just appears on the 25th of July in the lair, and that was following a CGI trailer. I'm sorry, I don't think that would do the character justice.
Yeah, what do you want then?
And maybe a playable Tall Tale to show, for two reasons. It would show the completion of the Ashen Age, right? Because that makes no sense at all in the current sort of state of the game. Granted, that is the fault of adventures, not necessarily those tall tales.
I agree.
You can't just have these runes go around, the runes flipping over on the cards and the parrots going around showing the skeleton camps, because we know that's the case based off of the trailers, and that's been revealed to us. And we know the Burning Blade is coming as well, because that was revealed to us. So the only thing we need to understand now, or realize, is that how Flameheart comes back. And the way they've been doing things with these Tasha teasers seems to imply that she's going to paint a picture of him and he's going to come through that. That's what the latest tease suggests. No temple, no like crazy moment. He's just going to be brought back by accident. And that even contradicts what Mike has already said, that he's already meant to be back. So it remains to be seen. We have 3 months until that update comes out. Do you feel, in the current state of the lore, that those developments that we know are coming in season 13 make sense, or have been given enough time to cook?
I just let it happen. Like
we have to go from this situation to skeleton camps on 6 islands, the Burning Blade reconstructed, and Flameheart back in physical form in 3 months without a tall tale. That's a massive step.
Yeah, I mean,
3 adventures would be fine, but we don't have them anymore. But 3 text boxes where the NPCs move around the map, no.
I'm just after we've seen how they handled Tasha, I'm just like, all right, just let it happen. Like, if the Burning Blade is just there without any explanation, or Flamer is just chilling in his rear without any explanation, I'm like, yeah, that seems about right with how they're handling the lore right now.
Well,
so
let's dive into that, because I think it needs to be spoken about before we get into the actual good bits about season 12.
Yeah, before we start the podcast, let's talk some more.
This is part of season 12, though, isn't it? We don't have adventures anymore. We're not getting any monthly content that's like new voyages or events or some shit. Our current in-between updates are Pirate Emporium, which is ridiculously massive now, the amount of stuff they put in there. Stuff that goes in the gold shops, some bug fixes if we're lucky, for the ones that really annoy us. And then the Tasha story has been swept under the rug through this weird change to the Burning Blade. And that has to be said. Sort of Mike did imply that people want gameplay changes, and that's true. That appeals to more people. We can see that with season 12. But in the past, we've always had these gameplay changes with story behind them, and decent story as well. I don't think the right decision was to rush something along because you've written yourself into a corner. It is okay for those things to be left on the back burner for this, and not just be swept under the rug, so to speak, just for the sake of giving people resolution, because this Tasha resolution has not been good, and it has disappointed basically everyone I've spoken to. It null and voided adventures, which just sort of confirms that they weren't written with any sort of long-term goal in mind, or unless they were rewritten, which is likely. And it just sort of spits on the legacy of adventures, where that was building up to several plot points and advancing the story. And me, you, our friends were all invested in that storyline, no matter how many issues we came on here and we poked holes in them. We still wanted a resolution, because there was 12 months of our time invested in that, and countless dev hours as well. So this whole thing, I'm going to be honest, it's made me not excited about the Sea of Thieves story, and it has made me not want to speculate on anything, because I don't feel like the story's coherent.
Yeah, I have the same problem. Yeah.
It's a shame, because
it's just a bummer.
Yeah. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I just want to say it's a bummer.
Yeah. Just
because of not giving us a nice conclusion, like they should have done that. Just we're not going further, but at least we'll give a resolution, and then we go further with the gameplay content and focus less on the lore.
Yeah.
But they didn't give us a resolution. Now we're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks. Yeah.
It could be that the adventures have been worked into gameplay, into full-time stuff, which is good. But also that would have to have some sort of rewrites and changes and what have you. Yeah, it just makes me a bit concerned for how the story is going to go forward. We don't get rid of the story just because it's not being, up to scratch, let's say, in the adventures, and people complained about it. People didn't like adventures because they were time limited, and most of them just weren't that engaging.
I mean, I still was looking forward to them, if only for the lore. It's the
yeah.
I don't have a problem with the time limited stuff. I think it's fine, with the exception of certain adventures, like the Herald of the Flame.
Yeah,
I still don't understand why that was an adventure. That should have been a tall tale.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
And it just feels like Return of the Damned didn't matter in the end. I don't feel like we've got any sort of, and it's not being confirmed what the results of Return of the Damned are.
It sucks because it was so good with the Lost Sense.
Yeah,
everybody was so hyped. I think they wanted to replicate it too quickly.
Yeah, and
maybe
I just don't think the decision between Pendragon and Flameheart was equal. I think if you've teased your villain for so long, for 6 years, well, it was 4 or 5 years at the time, I can't remember how long ago, and people just want him back, you can't expect anyone to be that fussed about it. When you say, oh, he might actually not come back now, people are like, no, he's coming back, and we still have to wait 2 years for that.
Maybe 3, you don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
The optimism in this podcast it's great, like usual. But I feel like we've discussed this plenty of times before. So let's move on to some new discussions, right?
Positive discussions, because we've got the negative out of the way, haven't we?
You're also done with the showcase, or do you still want to say something about that?
Oh, quickly. I think we might get an Everwild trailer. I think that's coming to the Vinegar Stroke now. An oh shit moment would be Banjo, is like that one last thing that Microsoft sometimes does. But I think that's actually going to be Gears of War 6. Maybe I've, on top of that, either Doom Year Zero, which was leaked, and we know that's coming probably next year now, or maybe a first look at the Elder Scrolls, but I think Todd Howard will wait till sort of 2026 Xbox Showcase to show that off, and it'll release in 6 months then.
Now you might get a subtitle.
The Elder Scrolls 6, Skyrim 3. Legendary Edition.
Yeah. Next
I wouldn't even be mad. I wouldn't be mad. I love Skyrim.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with it.
Oblivion Remastered would be good. I think it's going to be Fallout Remastered though. But yeah, tangent. We'll discuss it. I'm sure we'll have a podcast about it if it's good.
Yeah. So the next podcast will probably be about the showcase. Is there?
Yeah, that'll be in June as well. That's about a month's time.
Yep.
Sounds good.
So unless we get Louise O'Connor in the meantime, that's probably going to be the next podcast. So, speak.
Awesome, good lore, maybe.
Right. Or well, I think Louise is more plausible.
I think Grant. And Greg at the same time is more plausible.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the podcast, to the discussion we want to discuss, or is in the script actually, and that's season 12. Because season 12 has come out, it adds some new tools, new weapons, zip lines, and owls. So, how do you feel about season 12 as a whole?
It is the best season since. Think about what I'm going to say here. Is it the best season? It's early doors. Definitely the best since season 8, I'd say.
Okay.
How do you feel?
Okay. I find it surprisingly uninteresting.
What? What? Piss off.
It's I find it a hard time to get excited about it, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it sounds so negative.
Have we switched dynamics here?
I think we have. Like, the most exciting thing about this season is that the Chest of Fortune is back to the fort.
Okay, right. I agree with what you're saying there, but I want you to elaborate.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I want to play Sea of Thieves. What do I want to do? I want to do the Fort of Fortune because, in new accommodations, and that's the most exciting stuff. And I'm not like, I want to play with the new weapons. Like, I will play with the new weapons, but that's not what I'm thinking at the moment. Like, I want to play Sea of Thieves. Why do I want to play Sea of Thieves? Because of the Fort of Fortune, not because of the new weapons. So yeah, surprisingly uninteresting. I like the new weapons, but it's not the reason why I start my Xbox. Yeah.
Oh. I feel this is a sort of a classic Sea of Thieves update. What I'd expect them to add to the game, not guilds or let's say diving, for example.
Oh, it's better in guilds for sure.
Right. Okay. Just try not to dog on guilds too much, but I see what you're saying. Like, there's nothing new to do in terms of like a new world event or something, but the game does feel a bit different. Booting it up for season 12. Yeah. Well, let's dive into the new weapons, shall we?
Yeah, we shall. And I have to admit, and we'll get to this later in the podcast too, I still have not played around with the Horn of variants.
Okay.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. So I can still turn around. I'm like, wow, this is the best thing since Hippos. So let's go to the new weapons, because we have the throwing knives and we have the double barrel flintlock. Throwing knives are quite versatile. You can throw them, you can stab with them, you can do a downward strike, and you can pick them up. And that is actually the most fun thing about it. There's also a little bit lore attached. I do believe Wanda, not entirely sure, but I think Wanda, where's Wanda? The one that's still Flash, at least. See, like, I'm not invested in the lore anymore. Wanda and Lorena designed the throwing knives together, and I think Wanda designed the double barrel flintlock on her own. I'm not 100% sure on that. I am sure on the throwing knives. So, do you like the new weapons?
Yes and no. See, I say I like the season, and there's a yes and no answer. They feel a bit weak.
They do.
And you can take this if you want, because I think we agree on this.
Yeah, they're great. Like, the animation, especially the knife, is great. The sound effect is great. They have a nice feel to them. It's really fun. Like, people are really using the throwing knives, and they're everywhere, and you can just pick them up. Kind of disappointing that when you pick them up, you can only throw them. But, whatever. I think they had to do it instead of, or otherwise it would be maybe too much, like you were having 3 weapons at the same time. But yeah, they're a little bit weak. But they're fine for PvE. Just don't use them in PvP.
Yeah.
Because the throw knife is a little bit unbalanced, right? Because when you throw them, it's quite high damage. I think it's 70, could be wrong. Should be fine. And you think like, oh, I can use that in PvP, but the distance is a bit too short. So, like, either make the damage a bit higher, or make it a bit more throwable, so it can be thrown a bit further. Either one to make it a bit more viable for PvP, but it's not there yet, I feel.
Yeah, I think my problems with the throwing knives is that it's a very high skill weapon, and the skill that is required to hit someone with a throwing knife does not match up with the amount of reward you get, or the risk versus reward, should I say. It is much more efficient to use a weapon like the Eye of Reach, Blunderbuss, or Sword as a combination of 2 to get a kill. 1, because we're used to them, and 2, they're just more reliable weapons. The throwing knives' main issues are the slow projectile speed. The throw is quite slow damage. In fact, let's just dive into it. The stab is too weak, I think, to fight another enemy player. It's got the slowest kill time. The heavy strike's good thing is that you can't be knocked out of it, but you move so slow and you don't have the benefit of like moving around like a sword lunge. And then with the throw, the Eye of Reach and the pistol are just better in that range anyway. It probably comes from the Eye of Reach just being a really powerful gun as is, but it feels good as is. I don't know. Hit reg is a real big factor as well. I think it hit reg's loads. Same with the double barrel. They don't feel like they've got a place in the meta just with how consistent the other guns are. I think the knife is a good utility, right? It's quite good for PvE. But yeah, just there's something off about them. I think the aiming and throw speed feels bad as well. For the throwing knives.
Throw speed and distance for me should be a bit further.
Yeah, and obviously
I feel like
you can use it to stop people dropping your anchor or boarding as well, which was an oversight, wasn't it?
Explain.
If you throw the throwing knives at the base of your ladder or on the anchor,
Yeah.
it's really hard to drop or use the ladder. So you can't drop the anchor because it'll just pick up a throwing knife.
Oh, okay.
You can throw
Yeah.
5 and switch your weapons, and then you can double gun and no one can drop your anchor. Or you can just chuck them on the base of your ladder and someone tries to grab the ladder to climb up. They have to take a
Okay.
throwing knife first.
Oh, interesting tactic.
Yeah, so
Try it
that's
out
fun.
more.
Yeah, it works. It works. Yeah, it's good.
No.
Not good, but it's effective.
It's the same with the double barrel flintlock too. Like the range is a bit short.
Yeah.
But the damage output is also lower than the regular flintlock, so I feel it's a bit too much.
Yeah, you have the double shot, which is good, but it's also a bit clunky that when you reload, there's like a delay before you can charge up your double shot, rather than being instant. So you can end up like pressing, waiting for it to charge up, realize after the time's gone past that it's not working, then you've just lost time in combat. And it hit regs as well because it's 2 projectiles. It's 2 pistol shots, and the pistol is the worst for hit reg because of that.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like loading your double barrel flintlock for a charge shot feels a bit funky.
There's reload speed's horrendous as well.
Yeah. Well, when you need to do 2 shots, right?
It's still quite slow with 1. I think it's slower than the regular flintlock. I'll have to
With
test
1,
this.
no, it's not.
I mean,
the good. Yeah, we'll have to test it. But the good thing about the double barrel flintlock is like if you need to shoot once, then the reload speed is a bit quicker, and then you have 2 shots again, which I quite like. So, and it's great. It's not great for PvP, but it is great for PvE. You can shoot the skeletons a bit quicker, shoot the phantoms a bit quicker.
The new weapons are bugged for the Ashen Lords, though. I don't know if you've noticed.
No.
They do. I think they do their PvP damage, so it takes ages to kill an Ashen Lord with the weapons.
Okay, I have found out that I just thought the weapons were just not powerful because I have tried to kill Ashen Lords with just the double barrel flintlock, nothing else. That took way longer than it should. Yeah,
it takes a lot of damage. And if you don't know that, sillily enough, the weapons do different damage to players than they do skeletons. I guess it's balancing, but it's weird.
Mm-hmm. Which is good because with the double barrel flintlock, most skeletons are 1 shot, and most phantoms, the phantoms in the sea forts are also 1 shot with the double barrel flintlock. So if you do sea forts and you're usually using a normal flintlock, just switch to the double barrel flintlock because you'll have an easier time. But yeah, so let's talk about the real controversial part about these new weapons, the cosmetics. So we have a whooping 3 we can earn for free, and I don't want to say they're terrible, they're just what you expect from them. I do find the requirements for one of them is quite hard because you need to complete all commendations in the war chest for just, what was it, Sovereign throwing dagger or something like that. I'm like,
Sovereign, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, why can't that just be 1 commendation? Like it should be the Athena throwing knives for completing all the commendations. So that's a bit too steep of a grind for, a somewhat lackluster reward. I don't mind Rare drip feeding us cosmetics, as long as they're all done in a year. But when we only get 3 right now, that's not the case.
This is several years of drip feeding.
Several years. This is well into Sea of Thieves 2 before we can see everything completed. And I do hope it's only for the beginning, so people buy the one in the Emporium, and it's a strategy for them. Like, we want a good pro now, so we spend some money, and then next season, all right, here are the other cosmetics because we have your money now. Is this going to be the case? I don't know, but I'm just hopeful. Yeah. How do you feel?
No, it's not going to be the case, is it?
Will we get more next season? Or are you like, nah?
Well,
just these 3.
This is the problem, right? They introduce a new wave or sort of set of cosmetics, like a section or a category. When was the last time we got any new captaincy stuff that wasn't drops?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can't remember.
It was season 8. Over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see in 2 months' time, 2 Emporium updates, there'll be more paid items. There'll be more paid, skins for these weapons than there are normal ones. There's already equal for the throwing knife. Yeah, just it's going to take years to release those. It's taken them bloody years to do the heavy cutlasses and the rapiers.
Yeah.
And we're still.
I mean that's intentional, I think, because I think they are planned long in advance, and just putting them out to have something in their regular shops.
Oh, just they started they turned a page with that. Is it the Bard set? What's it called? You know, that one.
Yeah,
they did a new ship set for that and some clothing and instruments. Oh yeah, even though that was over 3 months, that's new stuff. Yeah. And now we're just back to recolors again, and you think, why are we still getting recolors of a 6-year-old set? It's boring. Sorry, guys, it's just boring me. At least, Christ, at least do a recolor of something that doesn't have one, like I don't know, the Dark Adventurer. But yeah, I think Rare's tipped the balance again with the Emporium because all the PS5 players are coming in, like selling a curse, which is a big no-no. Was a yes apparently. The Emporium's getting like 100 quid's worth of items each month, and the regular stores is like, we can do some recolors for you.
Aye.
And the earnable, like you say, the earnable stuff isn't good this season. Not in terms of looks, I think they look good, but in terms of the grind you need to put in, 250 sharks with both weapons as just one commendation.
Yeah, again, it makes me wonder who makes these commendations, because there's such a disbalance sometimes. Like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I can see that, like completing a Telltale once. Oh yeah, that's fine. That seems normal, but then it's like, or walking 500 pieces of loot on your tightrope. It's like, why? Like have it like 20 times so we know the feature is there. We're used to it, and in the situations that we do need to ferry loot, and they're going to be quite exceptional, but there might be some situations where it's smarter to do that or more easy to do that. Then we know it's there to do that. Now it's just boring grinding, walking on the tightrope with all our pieces of loot.
It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? They can do easy commendations and the rewards look like this. Or they can do hard ones and just stuff all the commendations in there and make it a long-term thing. That's fine. But there's not either or. It's this is your content for the season, and you will grind for your 3 skins of each, and then the midnight, not the Midnight Blade, what is it? The Hound, what's it called? Midnight Prowl. Midnight Prowler set. That's also been released, isn't it?
I'm just saying yes.
Okay. That's for getting all the commendations, which includes selling 250 horns.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a stupid grind.
Selling the horns is 250 horns.
Yeah, 250.
Oh, I didn't even see that one. And then you get the Night Prowler set, which is
the unreleased arena set from 5 years ago. You get the sails, flag, and hull.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. I didn't look in at the shipwright.
Yeah, you need to complete all commendations for the war chest for it.
Okay, gotcha. All right. What's something to do? Anything else you want to talk about these new weapons?
Yeah, why didn't they put skins in the season pass?
Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, why didn't they do that?
That's like, we get 26 cosmetics a season, right, in the season pass. 24 if you're not a pirate legend. Shitloads of golden doubloons. Like, who cares about gold? Because you get gold for doing everything in this game. We could at least stretch to 2 more for a seasonal flintlock and double flintlock and throwing knife.
Yeah,
is that unreasonable? I think I'm being unreasonable.
No, I think you're right. I don't agree with the gold. I think golden doubloons getting that is great. Again, there are also new players who have trouble getting gold, and for them it's really nice. So
at least
I mean, I also like it. I like getting free gold. I mean, come on.
At least shove an infinite tier on there, because the season pass is just I'm just so tired of it.
Yeah, it's one thing I want to say, because we have the Gorgon set too, and we have this hat that we get. It's kind of like Jack the Ripper hat, and again, it feels like they're behind. Like it should be the October Emporium, the October season pass update, because it kind of has this Halloween vibe to them, the cosmetics. But
Season 11 is definitely like that because it's basically got it's like a Halloween set, isn't it?
yeah, so I mean, every season is Halloween in Sea of Thieves.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
because it needs to be spoken about, because someone's going to comment about it. Pirate Legend items. How do you feel about them?
Again, what do we get?
Grey Marrow's boots for level 100.
Oh yeah,
And the Wild Rose music box for level 50.
it's what we come to expect at this point.
What if I told you the Wild Rose music box doesn't play music?
Yeah, again, it's what we expect.
It plays music in the Tall Tale. Why can't we have a trinket that we have working music boxes? They have assets for that. But
yeah,
I said this...
see that would be a proper reward, because we also have paintings that move, so why not have a trinket that makes music? Yeah, you're right.
This is it, right? It feels like it, probably because it is. It's like, what can we asset flip last minute and not put any effort in? This it sounds really rude, guys, and if you're a rare dev, listen to this, I'm sorry, but this is what it feels like as a customer. We went from having awesome cutlasses and jackets, and even the spyglasses, some of them were pretty cool, curses in some instances, to recently we got gloves. Bell's dress is fine. We got boots, not his jacket, not Greymo's jacket that people want, and a trinket. There's a music box that doesn't work. If season 13 is not Flameheart themed, and it's just going to be fucking Briggsy's belt and her trousers, I'm going to be so beside myself. Flameheart's jacket and the Burning Blade figurehead, that's what the season 13 should be, with Reaper clothing as well, which I think they're probably going to do, actually.
It's funny because all those Ashen Lord cosmetics, I feel just release complete set and tie them to commendations. That's how I wanted it.
But people won't buy stuff from the Emporium then if they've got good stuff they can earn.
Oh yeah, well about that. Oh man, I'm just getting so negative.
We said it was going to be positive, but
oh yeah, we do our best. We do our best.
Why did you have to bring up the cosmetics? You knew that was my trigger.
It's my fault. I'm just feeling it too more lately. I'm always this positive guy. At least I think I'm this positive guy. But it's grinding on me too. Certain decisions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next weapon that also is underpowered.
I almost spat on my drink then.
Which is the scatter shot. It's a new type of cannonball. It has 4 projectiles, and they each have a mind of their own. What are your experiences in using them?
It's really good against galleons and scaly galleons. It's okay against brigs. Against sloops, it's basically useless, which I think is fine. I think sloops need a little bit of an advantage against bigger ships. I like it. I think it works well. I think it's nice and common. The commendations aren't unreasonable. It's just another like tool you can use to just change how you play, and it does feel good when you use them. And I don't think it's overly powerful either. I think they're in a good place.
Yeah, I was joking. Like, I agree with you. Like, it's just not feasible for against sloops, and I think even brigantines, I'm like, just rather stick to regular cannonballs.
Yeah.
Did hit some plays with it in the face with the scatter shot. That was quite funny. But sometimes you have this angle, and sometimes you hit all 4, and with the next shot, like same distance, you just miss them all. But yeah, for galleons, it's a bit less of a problem.
It can do a lot of damage to the mast and the wheel, especially on a sloop because it's all close together. But yeah, I think Rare's balanced this really nicely.
Yeah, I think so too.
And they feel different to cannonballs as well, which is nice.
I agree. Something else is the Bone Collar. That's a throwable used to summon a skeleton crew, and they will fight for you. I think it's 3 that pop out. I'm not sure what the color of the banners signifies, because I've thrown them a couple of times and they had black bandanas for me.
They always do now, yeah.
They always do, because we were talking about it at the preview event, like, oh, we've seen them, they have red bandanas. I'm like, why? Why do they have red bandanas? It's terrible.
I
But
think they monkey
yeah.
pawed us, didn't they? They were like, oh, they don't like the red bandanas. Not that they knew different to differentiate. They were like, no, we can just give them all black bandanas now, and all the skeletons have them.
Hi.
Yeah, so,
But it's good that they're black, right?
yeah, just the normal skeleton should have blue, green, pink, or is it purple or red?
Mm-hmm.
So the
But
black ones are always yours.
wait, when do we encounter black skeletons, like black bandana skeletons
They've
in the world?
all changed to black bandana skeletons now.
Oh shit!
I think that's a bug.
Goes to show that I'm not paying attention sometimes.
You just
But
zoned
yeah.
out on you.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's going through the motions or just focusing on other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a bad host now. But I to be fair, I do like the bone collar a lot. It's a bit rare. It's a bit rare, maybe
Yeah.
a bit too rare because they are so fun to use and
Yeah.
they expire after a while. So it's not like unlimited bodies that fight for you. Don't know how you feel about that.
They are quite rare. They're really good. They spawn camp people. They know when people are going to spawn, which is very powerful. They block buckets as well. You can't walk through them. What else? You can stack them, so it's per person, not per crew. So if you shoot them from a galleon, you can have 12 skeletons board someone.
Oh wow, that's great.
No, that's not great. That is too powerful against a smaller ship. It should be 1 per crew.
12 skeletons in a sloop.
Imagine that, and spawn camping you as well, because they know where you're about to spawn and they wait for you. They attack you immediately when you spawn.
Yeah, that's great. I'm gonna use that. Well, not that I spawn camp. I mean,
No, but we sunk to it because 2 people on a sloop shot 1 each at us, and they just body blocked us. They're really good against the brick.
Were you doing hourglass or?
No. This was an adventure. And a very well-known streamer who's very good at the game encountered us and we almost sunk them, but we hit some kegs and we did have them, but they managed to recover, and then they sent 2 of those right at the end and they stopped us from bucketing, so they sank us.
All right, okay, well, nice to know that those tactics work at least.
Yeah, it felt a bit cheap, but we could have done that to them.
Do you feel like they should be balanced then, or are you happy with them?
They're fine. They just need to, 1, not spawn camp people, and 2, because that's not really fair that they give away positions as well. So they'll stand next to where someone's going to spawn. So that gives too much information. And they shouldn't be stacked. It should be 1 per crew, or one crew of skeletons can spawn on a ship at a time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I really like them.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, really
cool. I just want to encounter them a bit more frequently. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, and I'd love to see a rare variant that... I would love to actually see them spawn as rewards for the fleet and for doing skeleton forts. Because they said that was a thing, but that isn't actually not a thing.
Yes, that's true.
And they should be a rare variant as well for doing a Fort of Fortune that spawn either shadow, gold, or plant skeletons.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
Or keg skeletons. Imagine that.
Oh my god.
3 keg skeletons spawn.
Wow, mega kegs.
Yeah, or I have reached skeletons. That would scare me with the knockback from year 1.
Hi. Yeah, but they're great. They're great for PvP and they're great for PvE.
Yeah,
I love them.
Yeah,
they also have names and you feel attached to them, and it's cool.
My little skeleton mons.
Do you know the lore of the bone collars?
I try not to think about it, to be honest.
Okay, so I looked it up. They were also made by Wanda. She first engineered the cannonball Tasha held.
Moving on.
It's just I feel it's like an afterthought. Like, oh, we need some lore. People like that, I Wanda made them. There we go.
There's just no like build up to it. It's just like she's talking about cursed sails, right? From 5 years ago, and then she's like, "Oh yeah, those that cursed cannonball that Tasha needed. Well, she doesn't fucking need it anymore because that whole burning blade thing's curing her, which definitely isn't going to go wrong. By the way, we've checked it up. It's fine. There is a weird parrot in the tavern though watching. I don't know what that's about. So you know this cannibal, right? I've duplicated them. I've made the same mistakes that my sister has. And because I dislike Flameheart, I am going to reverse engineer this and run the risks of becoming my sister to allow the Reapers to also get a hold of these bombs and use them against the Pirate Lord. That's the law.
That's the lore. That's also your resolution to all the adventures. Like it was all leading up to this point to making the bone collars.
I love how Ramsey's commissioned.
Aren't you happy with the adventures?
No. I love how Ramsey's commissioned these weapons because Flameheart's back or coming back, or because guns have worked on Flameheart in the past. The guy who tanked a fucking nuke to the face and survived. The guns and throwing knives are going to do him in, though, aren't they? God. And the Reapers can use them as well. So it was probably better off not to include that bit of lore.
Yeah, I agree. Like even when they're at forts and they're at Skeleton Fleece, like what the fuck, Wanda? Like, do you deliver to both sides? You fucking
profiteer, isn't she?
Yeah, profing war profiteer.
It's funny. A lot of people investing in Wanda's workshop stocks recently.
Stocks are going up.
Where do you think they got all the money to build up Port Merrick?
I indeed. So one thing I did want to ask you, because I have not really been keeping up with the Tasha lore. I just know that it's resolved and there's something to do with memories, but how did Tasha get cured exactly?
Oh, well, let me tell you a story. So Ramsey and Briggsy figured out that the Sword of Souls can be used to conjure up memories in the waking world, not in the Sea of the Damned. So Legendary Louise, who is actually Briggsy's ex, sloop mate, I don't know what you want to call it, ended up dying as a result of Briggsy, and she saved Briggsy as a result of it. We don't know the circumstances of that. So they hatched up a plan to get Teddy, to get Tasha's dad, which is Teddy, who's in the Tavern of the Damned. You see him in A Pirate's Life, Captains of the Damned at the end. He comes over to the Athena Tavern. They think, if we pull all our good memories, me, Briggsy, and Louise, into this Sword of Souls, it will cure Tasha because it will manifest a memory of her before she was cursed.
All right.
They did that. It's starting to reverse the curse. The blade is now with Tasha. Briggsy's disappeared, and if you go speak to the blade, it has memories of like LeChuck and shit like that. That's
if you
basically
speak to the blade,
you can interact with the blade, and you can.
Where is it?
Next to Tasha. It's chained
up. Spire.
On Ancient Spire, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is as of the 5th of May, 2024.
Gotcha. Because I caught up with the story, except the last part I didn't know about. Yeah.
So
all right.
The blade.
The
blade will give you a memory of Briggsy, a memory of Teddy, a memory of Louise, and then there's like murky memories, which sort of talks about Madame Olivia. I think it's Pendragon. What's his face? LeChuck. And then when you speak to Tasha, she says that she's recovering from her curse and she can finally get back to her painting. Now, where have we seen paintings before and that sort of binding?
Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes, you got it. Banjo-Kazooie 3 confirmed. Banjo 3 or Banjo Nui. No, it seems to imply that Tasha's going to paint a picture because the blade's going to take over her mind. It's going to paint a picture of Flameheart, and the blade's going to be used to manifest a memory of Flameheart and the Burning Blade, and that's how he comes back. That's what I think was going to happen.
Okay, yeah, it seems plausible. I mean, it does explain why they're focusing on memories and the blade now.
Which it makes no sense because Flameheart was brought back in the ritual. So
indeed. But if they want to go this way, yeah, it's fine. I'll just see when it's there.
Not fine. It's bad. Sorry.
And even again, like this story too, like even all right, we retcon like what we've done before, and now this new story, which is going to be like quote unquote the official story. Yeah, it's just some dialogue, and you need to figure it out for yourself. I mean, there's some fun in that, but it should have been a tall tale or something.
Yeah.
Oh well.
We said that at the same time.
All right, so let's go to something I know nothing about. Women, or the Horn of Fair Winds. It's a siren shell that harnesses the power of the winds. You can get your sails full billow, boost rowboats, boost yourself in the water, put out flames, blow enemies away from you, and cushion your fall. So, have you played with the Horn of Fair Winds?
Unfortunately, no. So we're gonna have to skip this segment.
I think so too. Sorry, listeners.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I have played with it. Yeah, this is really fun. Actually, the weakest part of it is using it to go faster. It doesn't really make that much difference. But the blowing people with the shell, sorry, you
blowing
can
people.
you can actually you can actually blow people off. Jesus Christ, why did they? At least it doesn't suck. So you can blow people off of like ladders, the wheel, any sort of ship interaction, and it sends them far. So once you get hit with this, you're not recovering from it. Flames, pretty straightforward. Cushioning falls work well. You go pretty fast in the water, but the actual aspect of this as a boarding or anti-order tool is amazing, and it lasts quite a while as well. It's a really cool item. It's just quite rare at the moment, but there is a cheese to duplicate them. I'm not going to discuss that.
Yeah, no, we can't. Like, if there was a cheese to farm them, would be different. But we're not going to talk about duplication now. Sorry.
It's just because I don't know how to do it.
Oh.
No, I'm not going to share that. You can find YouTube videos if you want to, but it's probably not going to last long, and you can get banned for that sort of thing as well.
Exactly. I wanted to say, like, if they see that in the data, you might get banned.
Yeah.
But explain to me how the full billow works, because is it only one sail, or can you hit them all three with one blow?
You can hit them all three with one blow if you stand on the poop deck of the galley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you said it doesn't make that much difference?
No, I don't think it will make a difference to a chase.
Okay, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Still want to try it out. I still do want to try it out. I have not had the opportunity. So yeah. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, really cool item. Happy with that one.
Do you know the lore?
No.
It's an ancient artifact. That's the lore.
Oh, got him. Classic.
How did this game to be? Just ancient magic. It's
Where's Flamer looking for the secrets of the ancients? Did someone say ancients?
Did someone say zip lines? Because let's talk about the zip lines. We talked about it a little bit. Like, they're kind of like what we expected, right? Like, just zip lines in the islands. You can zip, and it's fun. I do have to say, some of them they are in fun locations, like the one in the big island, Old Faithful Island. Like, it's it's a bit cinematic, a bit thematic when you go down there. So I like that. That's about all I have to say about them.
I'm quite disappointed with them.
Are you?
Just the harpoons are so much better because they function both ways and you can move them. Whereas the zip line, you should be able to go up, down them. You should be able to drop loot and kegs off with a button press, and then you drop off. So you can actually drop stuff onto either your ship without dropping, or a keg onto a ship. And you should be able to grab the zip line at any moment on the line. Yeah, they just don't really solve a problem. They're cool, but the harpoon is just so much cooler.
Aye. So let's talk about the harpoons then. With the harpoons, we had them in the game. You can shoot them, you can harpoon treasure, you can harpoon players. But now when you shoot them, they can they could get stuck in the walls and rocks before, but now you can walk on the line. You need to do a little balancing game. It looks fun. It's fun to do. Boarding, I also boarded a couple ships with it, both skeleton ships and player ships. It feels good. It feels piratey. It feels Jack Sparrow piratey, which is the best kind of piratey, and I like it.
Yeah, same here. I think it's turned out really well. I would love to see a harpoon on the crow's nest just so you can use it to slide down. I think that would be hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, it's worked surprisingly well and it's very useful. More useful than I anticipated.
Quite happy, and this is just fun. It's just fun to mess around with. Yeah. Okay, so the final topic: owls.
What about them?
Do you like them?
They're okay.
Okay.
They're just not very piratey at all.
No, they're not very piratey. I like them. They're good owls. They're good-looking owls. I like when they flap their wings and it's like, oh, it looks cool, and they act like owls. But still, I'm like, why? I mean, why owls, not hippos? I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, that's maybe unfair. I mean, why owls and not baby kraken? Why owls and not a rat or a pet crab? You know, it's well. I'm happy for Owlet.
Just for some reason, it's just reminded me that. Wait, Hank, you said why owls? Because Owl begged for them for like 4 years.
That's why. That's why. That's why.
Oh my god. Right.
I mean, he's sure not the only one. I'm sure other people are quite happy with owls as well, and I'm happy for you.
Did you have you bought any?
Nope.
You've not bought an owl?
No.
Okay.
I've seen owls. I've seen roommates' owls. Yeah. Why do you ask?
I don't know. I thought you would have bought one. I don't know. I bought one.
Of course. You're getting ancient coins every season because you're a partner.
Complains about the Pirate Emporium. Also benefits from the Pirate Emporium.
Aye, exactly.
Oh, Owlet.
Aye. Are you happy with our discussion? Is there something else you want to discuss about season 12?
No, I think it's an overall good season.
Okay.
Apart from the bugs. No. Apart from the cosmetics.
But are you excited to play then? Like I'm happy with the new. Don't get me wrong, listeners. Like I don't want to be like too negative about it because I'm happy with the additions. I'm just not motivated. Like there's nothing there to get that buzz going. Like, oh, I want to play Sea of Thieves now. You know.
That's what season 13 is for, right? Hopefully.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I'm excited to play Sea of Thieves again. It's more so that this is good and the like next 2 seasons look good as well. So it's not like, oh, this momentum's great and it comes to a screaming halt when they add guilds or do a season 9 on us.
It still feels like it should be spread out more in seasons, and we've talked about this like endlessly, but I just want to mention it one more time. Like if we had a tall tale, a new weapon, a new tool, a new change in the world in one season and spread them out for each season, like it's going to be a mix, that would be better than just giving us, oh, here's a weapons and tools update and next update is the world event update,
Yeah, we do need mid-season stuff. I know we're getting Gilded Voyages. It's kind of cool, but we need things like Reaper Runs or Build Rat Adventures back because 3 months with just like a season, it's just, we've had better in the past. To be fair, that's probably caused delays, but I think 3 months with no other additions apart from the Emporium is not great.
All right. So let's go to the message in the bottle. This is a segment of the podcast where all listeners can send in their own questions and we answer them. If you want to send in your own questions, you can join the Salty Hippo Discord. Link to that will be in the YouTube description. And the first question comes from Geo Godfather. In Drew's latest blog post regarding upcoming hotfixes and stuff, he mentions that the team wants it so skeletons summoned by bone callers won't be able to detect tuckers. Personally, I feel like using them if you're wary of tuckers on board your ship or at any active fort is a good tactical move, at the cost of wasting a valuable throwable. Do you think it's smart of Rare to prevent the boneheads from being able to do this?
Yes, I don't think you should be able to easily find tuckers with a tool. I think tuckers have a disadvantage already with the fact that if you know where to find them, you're going to find them, and the mermaids give away the swimming. They don't need another tool against them, because I know we're getting a stealth update in like 6 months' time, but yeah, I don't think that's fair. And it's meant to be like that anyway. That's a design choice. As far as I know, this is a bug and not something that the design team want to change. They're not meant to find you.
I agree. Like you can say, yeah, it's a high cost because it's a valuable throwable. A bit too valuable in my opinion. It should be a little less rare. But yeah, you should not nullify a tuck play with one item.
Yeah.
So I agree with the developers there.
And if they're in the crow's nest, it won't work anyway.
They're just circling around it, doing a little dance.
Just swiping up at it, like, oh, he's in the crow's nest.
Looking up. Oi, come down there. Oh. But yeah, thanks for that question, Godfather. Next one comes from Spaniard. Thoughts on curses being in the Emporium? I personally think this isn't a good thing, as curses should be in-game achievements and not Emporium padding. So before you start ranting, Ray, we did have curses in the past with the Legendary Curse, and that was fine. That was a fine reward. And now we have the Stone Curse, and people are bitching about it like, whoa, curses should not be in Emporium. How do you feel about it?
Why do you think people are bitching about it, Blubber? Why do you think people think the Stone Curse is different to the Legendary Curse?
Well, you tell me.
Because you've made an error there, haven't you?
I think I have.
You have. The Legendary Curse was free.
Are you
It was not paid. It's never been paid.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the error I made. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, because you need to pay. It's in the Plunder Pass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it's in the Plunder Pass.
Do you know, it doesn't help that people get confused between the Plunder Pass and the Season Pass, because that's confusing as it is.
Like me.
Like you. And people forget that the Season 1 was, that was a free tier and it was level 100 and it wasn't included in the Plunder Pass. In fact, the Plunder Pass in the first few seasons was shit. Not going to lie. It was just like bargain bin items that are rare couldn't shift, and they shoved them all in there. Sorry, rare.
Like we give you half of a ship update, so you're inclined to buy the rest of the ship.
Yeah,
that's how the Plunder Pass used to work.
Right. Okay. I'm not a dum here. I know that Rare needs money to run the servers, and they release loads of updates for free, and I'm being entitled. Like, we can be adults. We can have conversation about monetization in games. Because I remember when it wasn't like this, and I'm sure Blubber does. I think the line was crossed a little while ago with putting the lore items in. It's just like another thing that just annoys me about the Emporium. And it needs to be there, just being clear here, don't take me out of context. But, the pop-up ads, advertising stuff, the loading screens advertising stuff, the pop-up advertisements at the start of a monthly update that you can skip. But, you can have up to 3 times the Emporium is put in your face before you load into the game. And that feels very free to play. And then when you've got all these PS5 players coming in, and it's an obvious business tactic. There's no coincidence when it comes to microtransactions. There's never any mistakes. Rare, or whoever is the head of business at Rare who decides these things, has seen, the PS5 players are coming in. They don't really know what the standard is for the Emporium, so we'll just chuck a curse in there. And this precedent has been set now, and curses are something that the fan base wants so much. And when we're already down on, earnable cosmetics, and the free track isn't great, the actual earnable reward to find the Pirate Legend stuff isn't good. And then you just shove 2 curses, I know it's 1 curse with 2 forms, in a paid pass. And it is a cheap pass, and you do have to work your way through it. But I just don't think curses should be sold. The floodgates are open. We'll see skeleton pieces come in soon. They've already done recolors in the Emporium. There is not much left that they have not monetized. They did the captaincy stuff ages ago. Hell, you even have to pay 250 coins for a new weapon for a set you already own. It's gone a little bit too far recently. And all of this, all my complaints would be completely null if the earnable stuff was up to scratch. You wouldn't hear a peep from me. But
Yeah. It's the same discussion we always have, but that's fine.
Yeah.
It lights up at the right moments, I feel like. I guess I'm fine actually with the curse. Like, I'm not that bothered with it being paid. But again, like what you said, like there are no curses anymore that we can earn, so it's dumb.
Yeah. It's not like a crazy curse. It's from the lore, but that whole thing of we're not going to put lore items was crossed ages ago, and
we have one crewmate that is jaded is the wrong word, but doesn't feel the need to play Sea of Thieves, like feels it less because of the Emporium and the changes there, and it feels really greedy. which is, you don't want that as a company, that people don't play your game because they will perceive you as greedy. And he said that he's disappointed in Rare, and I still find it a bit too harsh, because because these changes and decisions are made from higher up, and it's not the developers that making these decisions, right?
No, of course not. And
yeah, just want to clear it out.
Yeah, there's a person who's making all the great content, or people that are making all the great content that we appreciate, and there's someone sat there that's saying, we need to do this for the Emporium because we've got it from Microsoft that we need to, improve on last time, and we need to pay shareholders. Obviously, I don't know if I don't know if devs get a bonus from it. Maybe high up ones do, but there is someone who physically sits down and makes these decisions, and we never hear from them. You won't even probably know their name. And it's important to separate the criticism of microtransactions over the actual game. There is crossover, like I said before, but we can have adult conversations about it, and we can turn around and say this is too much.
Yeah, it's probably somebody in management that went to a conference that said, well, if you want to increase it by 20% your revenue, you should play ads in the loading screen. It's like, and he's like, oh, we should do that for Sea of Thieves. Let's put ads there.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You can make several arguments as to like why it's quite immoral. But I don't get why there's so many people that defend microtransactions so hard in games. There is an element of necessary evil, but separate the stuff that are trying to get you to shell out versus the stuff that you actually want in the game.
I still find it ridiculous, some of the prices in the Emporium.
The ship sets are a rip-off.
The ships are terrible. Yeah. Again, that's somebody who owns like 4 or 5 ships, but that's not the point.
The heritage ones sort of make sense because they're rare-based, and they're a bit gaudy and garish, but they're still quite cool, and there's some thought put into them. But this is another thing with the Emporium. You get all these glowy cosmetics, but none of them really excite me. Just because they just don't feel very pirate. Actually, I'm going to take that back because they'll start putting really piratey stuff in the Emporium. But yeah, it just doesn't. Nothing about paying for cosmetics excites me at all.
All right. Let's move on. Thanks for that, Spaniard. You just riled up the old discussion again. The next question comes from Toby Ecozap. With the new weapons out and only 3 of the gold shop skins in, what skins for the knives and double barrel flintlock do you want them to focus on? What sets should be filled in, or standalones added? All of them.
All of them. Moving on. No,
all of them.
What do you want the most? Let's say your top 3.
Athena daggers, Dark Adventure daggers, and Viva Pinata daggers.
I think the most likely ones will be the Viva Pinata ones, won't they?
Will they?
Yeah.
I hope so.
They go in the Emporium,
It's one. They go in the Emporium, yeah, but they're always free when they come out, so let's hope they continue that trend.
True. See, I'm putting these 2 together because they're basically made and done. The Athena and Reaper's Boat or Servant's daggers that you throw in the Hourglass. They should come out, and they should be Hourglass rewards rare. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I think they'll be in the Emporium, so I'm not going to ask for those. I know they'll be coming out. I think Company daggers would be cool as Emissary rewards rare. Obviously Flintlocks as well. But my most wanted one, it's going to be a curveball. I think we should have the Obsidian stuff completed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. There'll be Twitch drops or something, but that'll be cool.
I think so too. I think we can reasonably expect them to be Twitch drops, yeah.
Silver Blade, Sapphire Blade, Insider Rewards. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that goes without saying too, yeah. I mean, Silver Blade daggers, yeah, of course I want them, but I don't know. Like, in a couple of years, that somebody reminds them again, like, oh shit, we can use the Insider rewards. Let's make a couple more weeks to add these rewards. And then
average Insider player base is 3 testers a week. Oh god, we finished the rewards. How could this happen? How could we not know?
I but yeah, those. I mean, I'm also always down with any heritage rewards. Like I kind of like the Banjo-Kazooie throwing knives would be cool for to have a feather design,
Yeah.
like a metal red feather or a metal gold feather you throw. That would be really cool. So you can wake me up for that when that's in the Emporium.
Okay. We'll be fine with the Emporium then. Free stuff.
Aye,
Yeah.
as long as it's Banjo-Kazooie themed, I'm
Yeah.
all for it. So yeah, thanks for the question, Toby Ecozap. The next question comes from Mr. Thrice. Now that they've proven that they can make new weapons, what weapon types would you like to see get added in the future? Like I always wanted a harpoon, like kind of Moby Dick harpoon with a rope on it, to collect treasure, to collect players, maybe to harpoon fish. Like you throw it, you see those fish swimming, and you can get fish that way as well.
Blubber, mate, you're not
Yeah.
going to believe this.
What?
Season 14, they've got a
Oh,
harpoon gun coming.
I was leading up to that. But that's not going to get added because we will get the harpoon gun. And I think from a gameplay perspective, it might be better to have it as a gun instead of just a throwable harpoon with a rope attached to it. And I want a musket.
Oh,
I want a musket.
How would the musket play?
Well, it's an I've reached that loads faster without scope.
See, I would say I have reach without the scope, but it does more damage.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And guys, get this: you can reuse the skins from the Eye of Reaches. Just get rid of the scope. Boom! Just saved you at least 5 minutes of work there.
Maybe with a fuse attached to it. That it is very powerful, but it has maybe a second delay where you need to see the fuse burn down.
That would be cool.
It would be cool. It would be hard, I think.
That should be a one-shot kill, I think, if you have to time it.
Yeah, maybe one-shot kill with musket. That would be great. But they've said plenty of times before we don't want to make one-shot weapons, even though the blunderbuss is one.
Yeah, rare. You'd have two pieces of British history there. You'd have the musket. You can shout tally ho when you shoot people, and then you've got the knives for modern day, so it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to see added? New weapons?
See, rare one. I asked for a double flintlock. I wanted dual wield, not two barrels. I would like to see double flintlocks, like dual wield, but you can't ADS with them. You can just hip fire. Think they're very piratey. Think Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and the boarding axe, where you can rip planks off from inside the ship, and it does a slow, heavy attack rather than or throwing axes. The world's your oyster. I think hopefully next year we'll get more of this stuff.
How do you feel about halberds? Like poles?
Yeah, they would be cool. I know they did use them during the Age of Sail. I just don't think. I think they'd be a bit powerful because of the reach. Suppose you've got guns, haven't you? I'm sort of interested in anything that's piratey and would sort of flesh out the sandbox, both weapons and sort of tools.
How about clubs?
Nah, it's a bit boring. Shovel would be funnier.
Shovel would be funnier. Yeah.
The rapier and heavy sword should be reworked, I think. Rapier should be. Well, I suppose the dagger fills that now. But a heavy sword would be cool. Slower swings, better damage.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we kind of have these machetes, and they're still called cutlasses, but they're not cutlasses; they're machetes. And machetes were being used as well alongside cutlasses. So I'm also down for a split. Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. So yeah, thanks for that, Mr. Fries. The next question comes from Captain Yagnar. What changes to new weapons would you do? Think of damage, attack speed, and other mechanics. The throwing knife should have a bit more range. Same with the flintlock. And as for now, that's I want to test it out and see how that feels. Yeah.
I would change the throwing knife heavy attack and the throwing knife throw to be two different things. To swap them. So when you press right trigger or left mouse button, you just throw it straight away. It's like a quick throw. Just that'd be sort of more in line with like the pistol. And if you hold down the left trigger and then the attack button, or right mouse button and then the attack button, that's when you do the heavy stab. Like you have to charge it up. Although actually, I suppose you would just hold that down, and if you tap it, then the attack button, you'd do the little stabs. So the primary should be the throwing, and the secondary should be the stabbing and the heavy stab. It might feel a bit clunky, but having that throw as like a quick option would be cool. And I'd also have I'd probably have the throw as maybe if you hit it, it's got a bit of knockback. I think that would be quite powerful and knock people off ships just a little bit. Not like the blunderbuss, just to maybe create some distance. I think that would be really cool for the throwing knife. I don't know how you could fix the pistol without making it overpowered. Maybe making the charge a little bit more responsive, so there's no delay after you reloaded.
Yeah, interesting changes. Do you think Rare will do adjustments in the short term?
It depends, right? I think weapons are really important, but I think if something's underpowered, they're less likely to make it better. Like the pistol has been in a not great position for ages because of the hit registration, and they've not really done anything to improve that. They did nerf the blunderbuss, but they didn't make it any better. I don't know, I don't think so, unless people stop using them altogether and they can't sell skins for them. And they'll have to change them, because if people use them, they're more inclined to use a skin, right?
Yeah, that's true. And but on the other hand, people will be using them a lot because everybody's going for the accommodations now. Oh, the data shows people like them, so they must be good.
The data shows that once everyone finishes their commendations, they never use these weapons again.
But yeah, all right. I do hope we do see some changes, but we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. So thanks for that, Captain Jackno. The final question comes from DB Pooper. After the obvious spawn rate improvements, would there be any other places you would like to obtain the Horn of Runners? I personally would like to see Brixie give a map to dig up a horn after selling a stolen skull of Siren's Song. Kind of feels like DB Pooper had some encounters where people were using the horn to run away.
Yeah, I wonder what gives that impression.
But yeah, would you like to see other places where you can obtain the horn?
Should be guaranteed spawn in Shrine and Treasuries. It's not. I think you should have bottles for them, like the Breaths of the Seas. Maybe they give them as well. I think as a reward for just selling a Skull of Siren's Song would be good. Or having one in like the chest, maybe. I don't know. The map's fine, yeah, like you say. I don't know where else it would really fit thematically.
Cooper said Brixie will reward you one.
Yeah, but a map, so yeah, that'd be fine. It shouldn't be a stolen one, it should be any Skull of Siren's Song. I think that's very niche at the moment.
It gets people to play the Siren Song again too.
Washed up in barrels would be good. Not in barrels, sorry. Washed up with the Barrels of Plenty.
Oh,
as like a rare spawn. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, maybe because you don't really pause for them, right? So maybe in the shipwreck would make more sense to me.
They do spawn in the shipwrecks.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was only treasuries and shrines.
No, shipwrecks as well.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Like, still, I find it hard to answer because I still haven't used that one. So yeah.
I would have loved just for season 12 for these weapons to have voyages where you can dig them up so people can guaranteed to be obtain them, whereas that's not the case now. They should have like short time-limited voyages so people can experience them, or actually make them spawn 100% in their intended locations, like the skeleton forts or what have you. Yeah,
I feel that's a tweak that is coming.
We'll see,
because they said so, right? You can see it in the patch notes or whatever, in the release notes. Sorry, that it spawns there, so it should be there, right?
It should be, but it's not. You can find them in fleets in the barrels. But I think they said that they should spawn with the crate at the end.
Okay.
It would also,
but they're not.
But they're not. Yeah. It would also. Yeah. My ideal one. Sorry to go on about this. When you finish the fleet, the Ghost Fleet, you get the Phantom Cannonballs. When you finish the Skeleton Fleet, you get Cursed Cannonballs. When you finish the Ashen Winds, you get the Ashen Wind Skull. And when you finish the Skeleton Fort, or Fort of Fortune, you get the bone callers as a reward.
Yeah. And when do you get the horn then?
Same way as you do currently. Just 100% if you do a shrine or treasury.
Yeah. I agree with that, actually, because it makes lore sense, and I like that.
Yeah, and because we know with a... No, we don't know anything with the Burning Blade.
Ooh. Spoilers. So,
No, we do know. We do know because it was in a video. And obviously, coming in season 13, we now know that you'll get the Burning Blade if you sink the Burning Blade. The sword now, I mean.
Wait, what? You get the sword?
Yeah. You get the Burning Blade sword if you sink the Burning Blade.
But this is a cosmetic, the Burning Blade, right? It's already cosmetic.
No, it's a usable sword.
And you pick it up alongside your other weapons.
I don't know how it works.
How do you know this?
It was in a Falcor video.
How does Falcor know this?
He said it. He found it in an article.
Okay. Like, how come I don't know this shit? I mean, okay.
Because you don't watch Captain Falcor, you idiot.
Ah, shit. I don't.
See? If you did your research like me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I kind of feel like Sea of Concepts right now.
Oh, poor Sea of Concepts getting roasted about a Sea of Thieves lore. Years later.
What was what he said? Like,
Flameheart has a son?
Flameheart has a son?
Yes.
Guy has more subscribers than us combined, and he doesn't lure.
Based. So based.
Aye. Anyways, with that beautiful joke, it was a hoot this episode. See? It was a hoot.
Shut up. Just do the outro.
All right. So thanks for listening. We have come to the end of the podcast. But before you go, I want to remind you that this podcast is also, sometimes, not always, on Spotify and Amazon Music.
Honestly.
so if that's more convenient for you, and if you can't find them there, just complain to AShinyRay.
They're all on there as of recording it. I uploaded them this morning. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. So you can listen to us on Spotify and Amazon Music. But do keep in mind that new episodes will premiere on YouTube first and will be there a little while later. And you can also follow us on Twitter. Can you? You can try. You can follow us on Twitter at BestCT Podcast. Link to that is also in the description. What you can also find there is a link to AShinyRay's channel. So also check that one out. And also feel free to share your thoughts on Season 12 in the comments. We do read all of them. But yeah, this is the end of this episode. If you did listen to the end, you are more deserving of ancient coins compared to normal people. So thanks again and take care.
I hate you, Blubber.